Man, I've always loved the Fighting Street series. It was one of my first real fighting games ever. It's called Street Fighter! Oh, my bad. When we boot up Street Fighter Alpha 2, not only do we get this beautiful opening, but once we insert our coin, we get a choice between 18 characters. Now before I go over them, I have to address something. Some of y'all might be wondering, hey Alex, why didn't you review Street Fighter Alpha 1 and instead just jump straight to 2? And that's mainly because while this game is titled like a sequel, heck, some of the dialogue in the arcade mode makes it look like a sequel, Capcom, the people who make the Street Fighter games, later confirmed Alpha 1 isn't canon, and that Alpha 2 takes place right after Street Fighter 1 but before Street Fighter 2. Plus, it's just a better game. But I might make a review on it as a YouTube short, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, first off there's Ryu. Everybody knows who Ryu is, so there's no need for an introduction. But I will point out that after defeating Sagat, he's searching for a mysterious man named Akuma. Then there's Adon, who's a Muay Thai fighter in search of his former master Sagat to dethrone him in power, as in the last game, Sagat was defeated by Ryu, and because of that, Adon doesn't respect Sagat anymore. Next there's Chun-Li, a Chinese kung fu fighter, and she's out to investigate the disappearance of her dad, and in the process, she finds the evil M. Bison, and suspecting that he may have something to do with this, she decides to fight him. Next up, there's Guy. He's from Final Fight, another Capcom property which takes place in the same universe as Street Fighter, and he was sent by his Bushinryu master, Bushinryu being the fighting style that Guy uses to seek out evil forces and defeat them all in combat. Then there's Ken. He's like Ryu, but he's blonde. And speaking of Ryu, he hasn't seen him in a while, so he decides to look for him to see if he's doing alright. Next up, there's Dhalsim, an Indian yoga master who, despite competing in fighting tournaments, prefers to use peaceful methods of solving problems. After that, there's Gen, and he's weird. He's Chun-Li's fighting master, that's all I can tell you. For our first and only newcomer to Street Fighter Alpha 2, we got Sakura. She's a huge fan of Ryu's martial arts skills, so much so to the point that she even has her own variations of his moves. So obviously her main goal in this game is to find and fight Ryu and has to train under him. And then there's Rolento. He's also from Final Fight and is actually a boss in that game, which means, you guessed it, he isn't all that pure-minded. Although I wouldn't say he's evil anymore, but I'm getting off track. So as I was saying, after the Mad Gear game was destroyed, more about that in an upcoming Final Fight video, he seeks to build his own military nation and create a new utopia. Next up, we got Zangief, and Zangief proved the world that Soviet Union supreme motherland by throwing people very hard. Nah. Okay, Zangief, thanks for telling me. Then there's Charlie. He's basically just Guile but better. Nobody can tell me otherwise. Like, Guile is cool and all, but I'm sorry, Charlie's just better, y'all. It's too bad he died in his arcade ending. Next there's Birdie, a British punk who's black? But he was white in the first game, so what's going on? We'll worry about that another day. Then we have Rose, an Italian soul power wielder, who, you guessed it, is tracking down and trying to stop M. Bison. Actually, I thought she was gonna fight someone else. Well then, you were wrong. Next up, there's Sodom. He's from Final Fight, and he's a huge weeb. Like, look at his design, man. Next, there's Sagat. He's the guy I mentioned that Adon wanted to surpass earlier, and because of that, Sagat also uses the Muay Thai fighting style, and he wants to get revenge from his massive scar on his chest that he got from Ryu's Shoryuken on accident in the first game. After that, there's Akuma, the mysterious man we mentioned earlier with Ryu. He's basically the dark thoughts in Ryu's mind manifested, and because of that, of course he's top tier. Of freaking course. M. Bison, one of the most evil forces in the series. He needs no introduction. After all, he's the one who killed Chun-Li's father. Anyway, one of the main ways M. Bison gets stronger is by using other people's bodies as vessels. And since Ryu defeated Sagat in Street Fighter 1 like I mentioned earlier, M. Bison thinks he's the perfect vessel to use for his evil plans. And finally there's this guy. I'm sorry, who's this? Dan! Dan, right. Okay, what does he even do? So I looked it up, and Dan isn't your normal Street Fighter character. In fact, he's what's known as a joke character. What's a joke character, you ask? Well, basically, they're fighting game characters with unconventional or intentionally bad movesets. What do I mean by this? Well, take Ryu's Hadouken. Dan has that same move, but it barely leaves his fist. Not only that, but he also has a bunch of different taunts for literally no reason, and even has a super move that is just 5 taunts that serve no purpose other than just to show off. Now you're probably wondering, why would Capcom intentionally make a parody of their own karate fighters, Ryu and Ken? Well, that's the thing, they didn't. Dan is actually a parody of SNK's Ryo and Robert from Art of Fighting, 2 characters inspired by Ryu and Ken, but Capcom at the time thought they were just ripoffs. So in their next game, Street Fighter Alpha 1, Capcom made Dan to mock SNK, and now he's in the sequel as well. Also, apparently the Alpha series is called Street Fighter Zero in Japan, and that sounds cooler, so I guess that's what I'm changing the video title to then. Now that we're done going over all 18 characters, let's talk about how this game plays. This fighting game uses 6 buttons consisting of light punch, light kick, medium punch, medium kick, heavy punch, and heavy kick. And there are special moves you can do with motion inputs via the joystick. There are also super moves you can do which are slightly more difficult to pull off and cost 1, 2, or 3 bars of super meter depending on how much punch or kick buttons you use. Not only that, you can also use something known as a custom combo by pressing 2 punches and 1 kick or 2 kicks and 1 punch, which allows you to do a quick high damage combo for a short period of time. They're really OP in this game, so if you want the match to end in seconds, pick Chun-Li, activate custom combo, and go crazy. And that's it. That's everything to cover in this game. What was that? Yeah, so it turns out there's actually more than 18 characters in this game, who are all hidden with secret codes, but the most notable one in my opinion is Evil Ryu. Don't you worry though, every single secret code for each secret character in this game will be listed in the description, so if you want to play as them, the codes are there. But anyways, to unlock Evil Ryu, hold the start button for about 1 second on Ryu's portrait, then let go and press right, up, down, and left, and then finally hold start on Ryu's portrait again, and while holding start, press any punch or kick button. This unlocks Evil Ryu. So why is Evil Ryu so evil anyway? Well, Evil Ryu is basically what Ryu would turn into if he fully embraced the Satsui no Hado, which is the dark power Akuma uses in his fighting style. In fact, that's the reason Ken was so concerned about him earlier, because in this game, Ryu is struggling with the Satsui no Hado a lot. And because of that, Evil Ryu uses a lot of Akuma's moves, like his teleport and even his Raging Demon Super. But anyway, that's about it for today. For my overall opinion on Street Fighter Alpha 2, I like it. It's got a decent amount of characters, mostly fair difficulty, and pretty good control and gameplay. Overall, it's a pretty good starter fighting game to play. Subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll catch y'all later. Are you serious?